I'm going to be thinking about this one for quite some time. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving you my review of Nightmare Alley, the latest film from Guillermo del Toro. An ambitious carny with a talent for manipulating people with a few well-chosen words hooks up with a female psychiatrist who is even more dangerous than he is. So before I give you guys my thoughts on this movie, make sure to hit that like button, comment your thoughts on the film down below, as well as your expectations if you have not yet seen it, and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future reviews, rankings, and tons of Marvel content coming later this month. So I did watch the trailer before this movie, and right after I finished watching it, I said, I have no idea what the hell this movie is going to be about, but damn it looks good. And I think that's a correct assessment of this movie because it is a very heavy movie. There's a lot to really dive into and a lot to take out of this movie. Hidden meanings, if you will. A lot of underlying themes, and this is one that you're really going to want to rewatch and sink your teeth into. I've only seen the movie once, and for me, I did like the movie. I'm overall positive on it, I'm happy to say. However, I think that first hour is an absolute drag, and I understand why it's necessary in a way because certain things come to fruition later in the film that kind of call back to a lot of things that are foreshadowed in this first hour of the film. However, there were a lot of portions where I found myself losing interest because I was really engaged with the performances. They're all electric performances. I forget which award ceremony has the ensemble, but this should definitely get nominated for that. But I was just losing interest in the first hour, and I know I should be engaged. It's Bradley Cooper. There's a mysterious vibe set up from the get-go. But once it really gets into gear is about the hour mark, and that's when I was fully invested in this story, when it takes the movie to the next level. Guillermo del Toro's direction is brilliant in this movie, and it shines, especially in the second half, like I said, where it really picks up and goes into next gear. Madness just unfolds throughout the film surrounding Bradley Cooper's character as he's kind of losing his sanity throughout the course of the movie, becoming more and more invested in this concept of conning people and reading minds and reading very deep into situations and trying to go a little too deep with it. And there's certain voices of reason throughout the film, such as the character played by Rooney Mara, and then Cate Blanchett, the psychiatrist in this film. She adds a whole nother dimension to the movie as her and Bradley Cooper's character have a very nice dynamic about them. It's a very atmospheric movie that really not only made me feel chilly and cold when I watched it because of some of the wintry settings, but it's gorgeously shot. I mean, this might get a cinematography nomination. I think Guillermo might get a director nomination just because the vision is clear here. And like I mentioned at the beginning, there's a lot to take out of this movie that I feel like on a second viewing, I'd be even more appreciative of because I'd have an understanding of what the hell I just watched, and I would kind of be able to put the pieces to the puzzle together along the way, much like with the Christopher Nolan movie, except in a different sense because this isn't some grandiose puzzle like Tenet. This is more so a simpler story, but seeing the underlying meanings of certain snippets of scenes and flashbacks would really have an influence on a second rewatch, and it would be much more impactful. But that's the great thing about this movie is it's very layered, so going back and rewatching it and studying the movie is going to be beneficial, and that means it's going to have long legs over time, and it's going to be able to stand the test of time as a movie that people are going to want to go back and rewatch, including myself. The movie's surprisingly pretty creepy too, especially in the last act. I mean, there are certain moments that are eerie to me because I kind of get unsettled when it comes to dealing with the beyond, and just the whole premise of reading minds and fortune telling in a way has been kind of eerie to me, maybe because of my childhood trauma with the ride The Haunted Mansion at Disney. And when things do start to kind of come to fruition and you can start to piece things together in your head, it just clicked for me. And that's a really great feeling in a movie when you just feel so happy and almost gratified by the fact that you were rewarded by watching this entire movie and finally getting able to see the pieces of the puzzle come together and click. It's a very rewarding feeling, and I felt that way when the credits rolled. Also, I'm a really big fan of the way this movie ended. I'm not going to spoil it, but it just came full circle so brilliantly. It's like movies rarely do that nowadays, and I love it when they end a movie perfectly, and I think this is the case here. Honestly, Nightmare Alley is one of the most well-made movies of 2021 by far. It features knockout performances across the board that I'm sure may land some Oscar nominations. We'll have to see. The directing is on another level, and the symbolism and just the deep themes in this movie are so rich. I want to go rewatch it right now, and I think I'll probably end up buying this one on Blu-ray. What this movie has done for me personally is opened the door for Guillermo del Toro, because I'm here to say I haven't really seen much of his work. I still haven't seen Shape of Water or Pan's Labyrinth, which I know are like his heavy-hitting movies, so I gotta check those out, and this one definitely has piqued my interest in him as a filmmaker. I will be crossing those off the watch list, hopefully at the beginning of next year at some point in time. While it is a very slow burn, I found it to be pretty gratifying by the time the credits rolled, and it's one that I do want to go back and rewatch. And it's interesting because for myself, a lot of the times, I don't really get on board with movies that are this deep and movies that don't feature as much of like a overbearing plot. But this movie, again, it just resonated with me in a weird way. While I was sort of confused at times, I just felt very rewarded when I made it to the end, and it's like, oh my gosh, I want to go rewatch this with a fresh lens. Just the mystique and intrigue that was created throughout the movie by the direction and the performances was enough to lock me in, especially at the hour mark. The first hour, I think it was necessary, but it could have been trimmed down a bit, kind of helped out with pacing. But the final product I was very satisfied with. And if you're a fan of Guillermo del Toro, you're going to like this movie. I recommend checking this one out, especially if you want a good mystery film that has a lot of deeper meanings to it. I'm going to give Nightmare Alley 4 out of 5 stars, and this rating could definitely go up on rewatch. I plan to check this one out again when it comes out on Blu-ray or digital or whatever streaming service it hits. I'll be watching this one again. But if you guys seen this movie, if so, let me know what you think of it in the comments down below. Make sure to hit that like button. Comment your thoughts on Nightmare Alley and Guillermo del Toro in general in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future reviews, rankings, all that good stuff. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.